Howdy everyone, Posher here with an Age of Magic video, and in today's video we're going to be covering Banshee, the Rogue of the Witches Coven, the final character of the Witches Coven to be released. We'll go over her stats, her abilities, and animations, and talk a bit about how this character could be used. So we'll get straight into it. Hit points are coming in at 8.5, which may seem pretty low, but this is a disguise in a sense. We'll explain it when we get to her passive, but she essentially has 17 million health. She's a massive health pool. So yeah, we'll cover that when we get to it. Speed 250, very nice. Armor 76k, magic damage resistance 137k, basic magic damage 1.2 million, magical critical hit chance is 42%, and magical critical crit damage is 2 million. We'll jump into the stats now and just cover that very, very briefly. Feel free to pause and take any information you want and use it how you see fit. So we'll jump into the arena now and we'll check out this character's abilities, and yeah, we'll go over the faction and some nice little combinations they've got as well that this character brings to the Witches Coven. Jumping into the arena, we have Banshee's basic attack, Beckoning Claws, removes the target's shield, deals 2 magical strikes to the target, places a shield on the caster equal to 60% of the damage of each strike. So, not a bad basic attack. Straight up for the fact that it can remove shield. It doesn't even say part of a shield, it just removes shield. This is a team that doesn't have any shielding, unfortunately, but we'll go ahead and look at the animation. And one dodge, but yeah, she gets herself a little bit of a shield, which is not bad for the witches, considering Tiona is negating a lot of healing, but she also negates, well, Tiona reduces healing and shields received by everyone in the arena by 90%. So it's going to heavily influence the shield gained, but still shield. It's going to mitigate a little bit of damage. Moving on to Lilith's second ability, we have Scent of Death, triggers the Rogue class mark, removes all buffs from the target, deals magic damage to the target, ignoring armor, magic resistance, and shields. Has a 20% chance per allied witch to cast weakness on the target for 2 turns. The weakened target cannot use damage dealing skills or make counterattacks or support attacks. If they have no other skills, they skip this turn. If the target is under ice block, it doesn't trigger, but it casts on 2 other enemies instead. Okay, so a fair bit to the ability. Number 1, straight away good, just because it removes all buffs from a target. So you can purge any hots, any taunts, any defensive abilities. Pretty decent. Let's look at this next part. So has a 20, or what deals, ignores armor, magic resistance, shields, fine. You're getting the most damage you can out of the ability. Has a 20% chance to cast weakness. So it's like stealthy. Or no, softy, sorry. It's like softy who can skill lock a character from using damage dealing abilities. So again, another lockdown. So you're getting a lot from this. You're removing the buffs from a character and locking them down as well. They're not going to be able to use any damage dealing abilities. And then we have the ice block thing. Now let's look at the ice block thing. So let's jump to Nora. Deals magic damage to 1 target. Cast ice block debuff on the target for 2 turns. While under ice block, the target skips a turn and cannot dodge attacks or take any active actions. If light allies or witches make a successful attack on the target under ice block, the debuff is removed and the target and its allies take damage equal to the sum of the target's physical and magical defense increased by 8 and 3 times, respectively. The debuffs cast cannot be blocked by Fortitude. Okay, so the Knights are well known for their immense defensive capability. So let's go ahead and cast the ice block on the Siegfried. Then we'll jump over to Banshee. Now, remember, this is a completely designed situation. You're not going to get this situation in the game, but I'm just curious to what we're going to see. So we can go ahead and cast the Scent of Death. We'll look at the animation as well. Nice, and spreads to, okay, it spread to 1 ally there. It can spread to 2. I think it was fortified by one of them. So that's fine. But we'll go ahead and look at the damage now when both of these are triggered by Lilith. So, boom. Okay. Yeah, I've tested this enough that I know that if the ice block is on 3 characters, all these front the only character that survives is Siegfried. Everyone else just shatters, legitimately shatters. So it's a decent. It's more than a decent ability. It's going to remove the buffs. It's going to ignore armor. It's going to lock the character's abilities down, and then it's going to apply or spread the debuff that's going to allow you to do more damage following. So, yeah, good. Moving over to Banshee's third ability, we have Ghostly Scream. Triggers the rogue mark again. Deals magic damage to all enemies. Has a 20% chance per every alive allied witch to cast Deadly Horror on the enemies for 3 turns. When such an enemy deals any damage to the Banshee, they will receive damage equal to 80% of the Banshee's basic attack in return. This damage ignores armor, magic resistance, and shields. Increase damage of allied witches by 40% for 3 turns. So we'll go ahead and look at the animation. Let's go on Brynhild. Alright, pretty cool. Let's add a purple scream, and you can see the debuff. It was resisted by 2. And they should now take damage. Alright, so let's go ahead. It's not going to be big damage from him because it's AoE, but we'll just use the basic here from Lilith. We'll see Librarian attack in a second. Hopefully he attacks and he doesn't do the... Or he's... Boom. So 3 points. So she took some decent damage there. Now is Librarian going to attack, or is he going to use his other ability? Nah, he used his other. That's okay. That's fine. And they got rid of some debuffs there as well when his turn came around. So yeah, very, very interesting ability. It's the whole increases the damage by 40%. I mean, you're just using it for that alone. Banshee's kit itself doesn't really... It's more support than it is damage. She's got that 40% bonus damage to allies. Her other ability where she can spread the eye. Yeah, she's just more of a support. I think it definitely fits the theme of a Banshee, though. It's kind of the Banshee's whole mythology is that it screams, it stuns, it's, you know, it's not really killing, it's more terrifying than anything else. I mean, she's going to kill you, but yeah, I think they've done well in designing the kit around the character. Moving on to Banshee's passive, and it's a big one. There's a lot to it. It's called Between Worlds. I can't put the title of the ability on the screen, but we can bring it up here in the actual battle. So the way it works, the Banshee chooses targets, ignoring stealth and provocation. The damage of all allied witches against hidden enemies increases by 50%. When the Banshee is about to die, she is reborn instead, ignoring revival bans with max HP and 100% initiative. After the first rebirth, the Banshee is considered dead for the purpose of skill activation of any witches on the field. When killed, a reborn Banshee dies completely and cannot be revived. After the Banshee is attacked by 3 enemies, she receives permanent invincibility. Permanent is it's not permanent as in she can never ever take damage ever again. It's permanent in the sense that it can't be removed. Invincibility, ignoring any active effects. The next attack on the Banshee is ignored, along with debuffs, marks, and changes to initiative and shield, after which the effect dissipates. The effect does not ignore additional debuffs or extensions of existing debuffs. So, it's a lot to it. Let's go over it. She cannot be resurrected, which I think is good on this team. I think it works really well for this team, but she will come back at full HP once. Honestly, and it's not what the video is about, but I think this revival part of the ability it's almost a better version of Phoenix. Like, Phoenix should have part of this in her kit. This is how Phoenix should work. But it's how Banshee works. She comes back, 100% initiative, 100% health. She essentially has 2 lots of life before she can be taken out. Which, again, I think is really good for this team because, again, in Arena anyway, Tiona is going to prevent healing. So, yeah, that bypasses it. She just comes back 100% and she's good to go. So, I really like the fact that she can just attack whoever she wants. I think it works with the rogue aspect. She can be a snipe character. For example, I mean, you're not going to really be versing this team that often anymore, but you go up against a Archon team, for example, and you get a character to that low HP, and then Magnus comes along and uses his taunt, well, activates his taunt. you know, you got your Banshee who can just come up and snipe that character that you got to low HP. So I think there'll be definitely situations where she'll come in handy, 100%. So yeah, I think it's really cool. The revival thing is nice after Banshee, and so she's got a debuff on her. It's not a debuff, but number of attacks into invincibility. She'll be attacked 3 times, and then she'll get 1 free hit. You can attack her, and nothing will happen to her, and that will just be on rotation. 3 hits, safe. 3 hits, safe. 3 hits, safe. So she's got a fair amount of survivability to her. She is essentially double HP. So yeah, I think it's really good. I think they've done well with her kit overall. She's a very interesting character, and yeah, so overall, not much more to say really. I think it'll be interesting to see how she's used. It's the witches are a very restricted team. They're more of a go in, blast the enemy, and hope for a very quick victory, especially when you're pairing Tiona and Flame together. You're getting that bonus damage from Banshee as well, so they're going to be absolutely blasting the enemy. Mix that again with Nora's Ice Shard. But remember, Lilith again also allows a bit of mix and match for the team. I think the only character you're not really playing on the team is Belladonna. You could put her on for 3 stacks of evasion. You're just not getting the healing out of her. So there's that. And the shield, again, if they resurrect, if the enemy resurrects, it's the shield's going to be quite low. So yeah. But we'll see how people come up with ways to use these teams. I think there's definitely going to be some ways. It's a very interesting team. I think there's the potential to just nuke teams very quickly. It's almost a bomb squad, but yeah, we'll see. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I will answer it to the best of my ability. And wherever you're around the world, until next time, please take care of yourself.